Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am Kate with Archoral. I'm one of the co-founders, and I am joined by LaVern, who is my cohort. I think that we can go ahead and get started. Today's conversation is about mapping relationships and non-familial connections. One of the things that is kind of a core belief within Archoral is that the people that interact with your life go well beyond your biological lineage. Everybody touches everybody, and everybody affects the people that are around them. And that is a big part of everyone's story. So what we're going to cover today is we are going to look at our relationship types. We're going to do just kind of a nice quick overview of our familial relationships and our non-familial relationships. Then we're going to look at how profile cards work. So remember I said we're profile and media based. Profile cards are the kind of the secret sauce for what makes Archoral function the way that it does. Then we're going to slide on over to the application. We're going to explore some of the event relationships. We're going to show you how to make some of those connections about the surrounding environments and people. We're going to talk about how to use type a name versus person profile. Those are two very distinct connection types in our application. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the connectivity between profiles, how we make that environment cyclical and make your archive come to life. Then at the end, stay tuned for a bonus sneak peek. We are about ready to release our fully inclusive trees. They are bigger and badder than anything that we have come across to date, and we actually kind of call them a bush. But we'll take a peek at that. And then we'll look at our expanded relationships. We are completely revamping and adding to and extending the relationship types that we offer. And then we're going to look at our new relationship builder. So we've gotten a lot of really wonderful feedback from our community, and we're going to show you a little bit about what our next layer is. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. So our familial and non-familial relationships. So like I said, every person touches those around them. And right now, these are the kind of relationships that we can hold today. It's all about the people, remember? It's all about every kind of relationship. So we have biological, but then we also have groups that I have named. So we have the chosen, the adoptions, the fosters, the guardianships, the people that choose to care for one another. Then we have the complex, where we get into donors, both sperm and egg donors. We get into your half siblings and your step families, your extended step families. Then we have all of the different kinds of spouse and partner relationships. And then there's always the in-laws. Those are your marital. Then we have the invited. This is your chosen and your found family and your God family. So let's take a look just a little bit deeper. We're not going to go too far, but the relationships, we're going to start with your typical, your parents, your mothers, your fathers, your children, but we're also going to throw in your guardians, your conservatees, your wards. So we start at one level. Then we're going to branch up and do your traditional grands, your aunts, your uncles, your nieces, your nephews. Now, anyone that can read that little type will notice that we also have gender neutral in there. That is meant to be both inclusive and for the unknown so that you can continue to carry on your research. Then we're even going to go to your grand aunts and nieces and nephews. From there, we're going to go to the great grands, the seconds, the thirds, the fourths, the fifths, and then there's that wonderful cousin chart. So we take all of these relationships and we look back on the relationship types that we started with, your biologicals, your donors, your in-laws. So being a profile-based application, you don't have to find your relationships going from the roots to the trunk, to the branches, to the leaves. We allow you to capture your relationships in any order that you find them, as extended as you find them, which is also great for blending in your DNA research because you may not particularly know. It just says that it's your fifth cousin twice removed or some, wonderful spatial gap like that. Start collecting relationships as you find them, and we will kind of magnetically put them together for you. So remember how I said everybody plays a role, not just your family, correct? So we've got the spouses and the partners, we've got the God families. Then we also have academic relationships, we have business relationships, and we have personal relationships. So everything from a caregiver and a landlord to a manager, a coworker, a teacher, they're all influential. And so we think all those relationships are important enough to capture. From here, we can also do relationship status. So if you have a wedding, that a marriage that has been annulled, a divorce, terminated from employment. So there's the step of what type of relationship is it, being familial or non-familial. Then we go into the subtype of give us a little bit more detail if you'd like, and then you can even go to relationship status. So at this point, if you take all these and you think of all the combinations, there's over 14,000 different relationship combinations that we can hold for you while you're doing your research and putting your whole world together. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look at profile cards. Profile cards form the connections. They are the driving force behind making your entire archive have that cyclical interactive relationship. They're what brings your media to life. And right now we have two different kinds of profiles. We have person profile cards. So every time you create a person profile, what you're doing is making a card that can then be used to make connections. In the profile page for each one of these is curated information. So remember I said we're profile and media based. So as you take your media and you start linking your media to all of these different profile cards, it is going to get curated and organized and automatically presented back to you in a profile page for each one of your people. It's going to have timeline events. We do alternate names, vital statistics, all those different relationships we just discussed. We have this wonderful storytelling feature where you can do a voice record and transcriptions. And then it also shows you all of the linked media against each one of those timeline or vital statistic entries. It organizes it for you so it's easily searchable. The second kind of profile card we have is the location. So this is how the location cards make connections. If you think about a marriage that took place in a church and you want to connect all of those people to that location, this is how we do it, by linking it to a profile card. And they also have profile pages with curated information. So it doesn't matter if the location was connected to your great-grandmother and then your nephew. We get that interactive connectivity, and both of their events will show up on their profile page. For locations, it's the lineage, the ownership of it, how it was transferred, address history, boundary changes, modifications. How did that, location, that speck of dirt, grow and change over time? The location type, did it become a farm and then a Starbucks? And then it also links back to all the related people. And when we get into the application, I'll show you how by linking profile cards, you start enriching the value of a location to your archive. So that's a neat little thing I'll show you in a bit. Timeline events. Anytime you have a timeline event that's in a person profile, by using the cards and connecting and linking those profiles, if I have a timeline event where I had a birthday party at a skating rink, if I connect the profile card for the location of the skating rink, that party and those photos and that media is going to end up in the timeline for the location. So again, cyclical. We also have the storytelling function in our location profiles, so you can just go crazy telling all your memories. And then we also have all of the linked media, just as we did in the person profile. Okay, so that is kind of a lot to throw at you in words. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that actually looks like within our application. Okay, so this is Archoral. When you first log into our application, this is our dashboard. This is where you land. And it is the central summary of what you have going on in your archive. Gives you a little bit of an overview, and you can also navigate from here. For my own family's protection, we have created an AI family for our choral training purposes. And this allows me to take them on any journey that we need to, so that we can show you how our application works. So from here, as you can see, we've got our person profiles and our location profiles, but then we also have address book, media, all this other fun stuff, our upcoming events. It really becomes an interactive dashboard. But what we're here to talk about today is linking the people. It's creating all those familial and non-familial relationships. So in my archive, I have a group of people. I have 74 in my cute little artificial family. And you'll notice that it's got gender rings. We're not just stuck to the pinks and the blues. We've got profile pictures, all your standard information. The two icons that are here, this person icon will take you to their profile page. And this is our indexer icon, which will directly open all of their media. We're going to start with playing in their profile, but I'm going to go to Caleb's profile since I've filled him out for our demonstrations. So we're going to open Caleb's profile. And this is all of the fun stuff that I was talking about, where we have our additional names, all that cool stuff, our vital statistics, our variables, we can watch them grow. But where we're going to spend most of our time is in the timeline. So we had those relationships that I spoke of, how we can do all those different connections. Those relationships get held here in the relationship cards so that you can start understanding how people connect with each other and their familial and non-familial. Where it gets really fun is in our timeline event. Our timeline can handle anything you want. It's not just birth, marriage, children, and death. It goes to anything from a school dance to a baseball game to a chess match. It's capturing the life of the person that you're trying to explore, getting those textures. So let's talk about how we can connect. So again, you'll see over here, we've got these two icons. We've got the media indexer icon. One of them is black and one of them is blue. The black one means that there's no media currently attached to that event. I just entered the event so that I could capture it. The blue one means that there is media that is representative of the birth of his son. But what we're going to look at is we're going to click on the edit pencil. And this is how I created the timeline. So you'll see I went into the event. The focus person is Caleb. We're on his profile. I named the event. I gave it all of its event types and its dates. I did a location, Seattle, Washington. You can go as big or as small as you want. It's up to you. And then I tagged it to some other people. That means that we have connected it to a profile. So all of this media, all of this information is going to be reflected in those additional profiles. If we wanted to, we have the option to type a name. Where this really comes in handy is, let's say, the event organizer. Let's pretend we're at the prom, why not? And the event organizer is, a school that we don't want to create a profile card. If we come in here and we say type a name, this is just going to be a text entry. So I have no idea why I want to type in Bob's Junior High, but I'm going to do it. So this is not going to create a profile for Bob. What this is going to do is just allow me to store that information. So if I have the contact person for an event and I don't want to create the profile card, they're not big enough in my system to go crazy, I can type a name and I can say Shelley Bates, and she's held in there. I can also do multiple. All of these fields are multiple entry. Just like we saw up here, the attendees were Alicia and Nathan. So let's see what that did for our application. So we had Caleb, we had Alicia in there as an attendee. So we're looking at birth of son Nathan, March 4th, 2020, and we have media. So we have photos, we have documents, video, and audio. This particular one that I chose was a bad example because it doesn't have any of that, but it shows you that these two pieces of media with the event details all opened in the media indexer with all of that same information. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to Alicia's profile, to her timeline. Birth of son Nathan, same exact information, same exact indexing system here, and same exact media in the indexer. So I have taken one entry, one timeline, one group of media, and I have made it spread across multiple profiles. So let's see what that did for our locations. We're going to go to Seattle. Location, Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to look at the timeline. Birth of son Nathan. It's right there. All the same exact information. One entry, one time, and ta-da, all the way through the system. So I was also saying that profile cards can help you start to see the relevance of a location to your community. So when you look up here at linked profiles, let me go to a better one. This is what I get for having an AI family. Mine is obviously a lot more filled out, but I don't think my niece wants you to know her birth date and her address. So here we're going to go to Mueller Farmstead. I've sussed this one out a little bit more. And again, we're looking at the lineage and the address history. I have webinars on how to use all those, but we're talking about linking people. So here you'll see these are all of the people that have had a relationship with this location through whenever I entered it, wherever I entered it, as long as I connected the location. And then it gives you what their connection to that location was. These were all attendees of an event. She was an organizer there. When you see this little blue bubble, that tells you that there are multiple relations to that location. And then you hover over, and he attended, and he was also born there. So if you can imagine when you're going through a real archive, not an AI one, those numbers will start to turn into 10, 15, 125, 2007, depending on how detailed you want to get in your archive. But this is how we can take not just your family and tell your family story, but how we can start telling the community story. The other thing I like to express to people is when you are in these locations, you may have two people that you're just researching on their own and you're creating their own profile cards, and you don't realize what kind of a connection or the intensity of the connection that they have with each other until you get to this page and you start looking and you go, oh my goodness, they were born during the same time frame. They're around about the same time. And look at how big that little blue bubble is, how many numbers are in there. So you'll start to understand the relationship, and maybe you'll change your research avenue to understand that connection a little bit more. So that is kind of the high level overview of how connecting people in all of these different ways at all of these different levels helps enrich your application, your archive as a whole. Okay, so it's time for our bonus sneak peek. If you all look at our logo, it says Archoral, and underneath it, our slug is driven by you. This entire application was built to solve my problem, my inheriting a 6,000 square foot warehouse of unorganized family history. But solving my problem doesn't solve everyone else's. So we are very, very open to our community giving us feedback and ideas because we want this to work for everybody. We want everybody to be as excited as we are. So this bonus sneak peek that we're about to have has been in the works and building for quite some time with a lot of collaboration from our users, and we're very excited to show it to you. So without further ado, we are going to take a look at our trees. Our trees are incredibly inclusive. And by inclusive to our coral doesn't just mean the modern day version of inclusivity with gender identity, which you will see is represented in the flags, but it's also inclusive because we're dealing with all of the different kinds of relationships. Our lines will show you those different kinds of connections you can show and hide and navigate around within your world. We also have the non-familial relationships that you can show and hide and explore who all of your grandfather's classmates were, things to that world. You can look at your environment in a tree form. Then there's also the gender identities that I spoke of. You can show and hide and navigate and explore your world that way as well. So that's what I mean way back at the beginning when I said our tree is really more of a bush, which is why we give you so many show hide options so you can really explore the way that you want to explore. All right, so this next section is our expanded relationships. So remember, I said currently we hold a little over 14,000 different combinations. Well, hold on to your socks, kids. This is not pretty, but it will give you an idea. We have taken our expanded relationships and done a lot more than expanding. I think we threw a grenade at it and went crazy. So we have our familial, our chosen, our found, that sort of a thing. But then we split apart spouse and partner and family-in-law. We added some I prefer not to answer and some I don't knows so that you can still capture all of that. We've taken our spouse and partner and we have extended and cleaned up that for your domestics, your polygamists, your same-sex marriage, you name it, we got it. Children, this is the siblings, the brothers, the sisters, the guardians, the conservators, the wards. A lot of this is still very much what we have now, just a little cleaned up, a little changed around. We're going to have in our non-familial, right now we have the academic, the business, and the personal. Well, this is where we've really blown up. We've got your residential, so your landlords, your neighbors, great for censuses, great for that kind of documentation, land records, and what have you. Coaching and team. This is not just athletics. This is your chess club. This is your life coach. Those people shape you very much. We're starting our military section. So we have just kind of the basic connections. And as our community tells us what they want, we will expand upon that like crazy. Medical, were they your dentist? Were they your therapist? Are you a dentist and they're your nurse? So it really starts to show not just medical staff relation to the patient, but medical staff relation to each other. Then we've expanded upon our business relationships. We've got service providers, clients, contractors, because those level of detail really start to speak to where a person sits within that organization and what their relation to each other is, how they were interacted with each other. Our academic one, we went nuts on that guy. Your mentees, your advisees, your proteges, your students, your professors, all kinds of relationships there. Service and support. Are you a board member? Are you an organization member? Are you an advisor? Are you a support group leader? Are you a volunteer? Takes in a lot of the rotating how people interact with their community and at what level. So that's going to be a whole new section. Then our faith and spiritual. We really spent some time on this to make sure that we had non-denominational as well as a lot of the organized religion. We use the right phrases for that. So again, if there's something in here that you want and you don't see, reach out to us and we will make it happen. We have a collaborative section. For those of you that are archivists and genealogists, you'll see right there at the top, archivist and the donor of the material, the researcher that worked with you. We have research partners. It's also collaboration within the arts, the curator, the collector, author, musician, those kind of collaborative roles. Then if you notice right now, our dating relationships are currently under spouse, partner, and familial. We did not understand how much our community would like us to explode this, and we're very excited about it. So we're now going to move them to the non-familial and give you that whole section of progression. And if you look in the middle of the friends and lovers right here, you'll see that we even you know, we're perfectly fine with the seedy things in life because it's all part of the story, just like the valid ones, if you so choose. Okay, so I hope I've blown your mind with that one. Our relationship builder is another thing that our community has given us feedback about. Right now, this is what our relationship builder looks like. It looks a lot like those index and event things, where you're choosing your type of relationship, your subtype, your side of family, your relationship status, and it all works very well. But it was a little confusing visually. So we have completely revamped that. So when our trees comes out, our trees is also going to include our expanded relationships and our new relationship builder, where it actually shows you, I am the of so-and-so, and this is our reciprocal relationship. So we're really excited about this one. Our community has just been so helpful, and we've really enjoyed it. Okay, so let's do a little recap because I know I threw a whole bunch of stuff at you. So we looked at our existing relationship types. We journeyed a little bit through familial and non-familial and how you can find those and how relationships can be captured as they're found, which I think is really, when I'm going through my 6,000 square foot warehouse, I'm finding grandmas and aunts well before I'm finding parents and children. So that was a big deal for us. Then we journeyed around some profile cards and talked about how they're used to make the connections, how all of that not only connects to each other, but curates to the profile page and organizes that information that you've found for you. Then we went and we explored our application for a little bit, and we looked at how you can connect to vendors, participants, attendees, service providers. Now, we only looked at the events section. If you go to the union ceremony section, which is the globally inclusive term for a wedding, you can put in who was the bridesmaid, who was the groomsman, who was the officiant, each one of our sections in vital statistics, who was the attending doctor. So we only explored that one section, but this idea and this ability really transcends all of our indexing fields. We looked a little bit about how type a name, it just allows you to record a person without creating the whole profile. And then we looked at how cyclical relationships, how you index a piece of media once and it translates to everyone else's profile, including the location profiles. It keeps your archive nice and clean. If you make a mistake, you go back, you fix the mistake in one place, and it translates. Also, if you find new information, like a more complete date or a more complete location, you just have to fix it that once, and it's automatically going to cascade throughout your entire archive. Then we did a nice little sneak peek at our inclusive trees, our expanded relationship types, and our redesign of the relationship builder. So I hope that wasn't too much for you, but I hope that you are just as excited about what we've got going and how our community is helping us improve and do better and be better. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you joining us and hope to see you again. And until then, happy archiving.